Hey y'all, it's Lindsay. I thought I would share with you what I eat in a day. Again, be blessed. It is already midday. Actually, that's not true. It's like 2 o'clock. Yeah, it's already 2 o'clock. So I've already had breakfast and I've already had lunch. But today it is Sunday. So that means church. And typically that means we are a little bit more crunched for time in the morning. So I filmed my food, but I didn't talk to you. And now I'm talking to you. But now I'm gonna show you breakfast and lunch. It's quite the early morning for us. It's only 7:30 and we have got to get moving. I have 2 slices of Wright's thick cut bacon here. I have 2 eggs that I fried, and I also have one of those cheese Danish on the egg white bread base. And then some black coffee. Gotta gobble this down and get moving. Time for lunch. I have 2 egg white wraps. I have a video showing how I make these and turn them into tortilla chips with my air fryer, but that's the base I used as just actual tortillas here. Each wrap has 1 slice of pepper jack cheese and 2 slices of smoked ham, along with a generous squeeze of my homemade mayonnaise. Do have a video for that. And then I did about, I don't know, 1/3 of a scoop of the Redmond Relight in there. I pulled mango this go around. And I do have a link for this in my description box if you are interested. If you're not, absolutely no worries. So, oh, did I mention the bacon? I totally forgot my favorite part. So I baked up a whole lot of bacon, the Wright's brand bacon, and I went ahead and put 1 slice of bacon on each of those wraps. Recently, I have worked out an eating window for myself that works really, really well at supporting my body's chemistry and gives me the kind of numbers that I'm interested in. I'm not interested in extreme therapeutic ketosis right now. I don't have any major health crises that I am attempting to overcome or to heal or to correct. I'm trying to keep my brain fog to a minimum. I'm trying to keep my attitude at a content and receptive place. I can tend to get a little bit irritable when my glucose is out of control and I'm not in a state of ketosis. So that is sort of my objective here. Also, the inflammation in my body tends to flare up a lot when my ketones are significantly lower and my glucose runs a little higher. That's my current objective, subject to change at any moment. One of the things that I also have mentioned here and there is that food is part of relationship. And one of the things that we as a family like to do is have meals together. Therefore, Sundays, I am planning to keep my eating window open later into the evening as far as having dinner all together as a family. Here recently, I've been making my midday meal, kind of like my heaviest meal, my biggest meal, and then having fatty coffee to close out my night that doesn't have any carbs in it, doesn't have any protein in it. And that seems to be working really, really well. But I don't want to neglect the fact that fellowship does involve food. All that to say, I will be having an actual dinner meal. The current rhythm with dinner time is I will prepare dinner for the family and then we all sit down together as a family, but I'm just the one without a plate. And I mentally do wrestle with this because I have 3 daughters. My children are still developing and still trying to make mental connections. And one of the things that I do not want to produce in them is an unhealthy relationship with food. So we do tend to talk about nutrition in a unveiled kind of a way. And I don't talk about being on a diet. I talk about this is what I'm doing to support health in my body. We talk about how does sugar impact children? How does sugar impact mom? And how are those 2 things different? Mom's chemistry is different, and mom doesn't function as a best optimal version of herself when mom eats sugar. But the girls, their bodies seem to be somewhat more resilient as far as sugar consumption is concerned. So them eating it versus me eating it is not as catastrophic, you might say. And yeah, so the girls might do fine and dandy with a little bit of sugar here and there in their life, but it's just not ideal for me. And so that's the kind of rhetoric that I attempt to use. That I folded it wonky. That's the kind of rhetoric I try to stick with when dealing with these things and the girls. But I also want them to know that this is not a dogmatic experience or exercise. This is a lifestyle that is sustainable when we flex with the situations without compromising the values that we have or the goals that we have. So hopefully that all makes sense. And I didn't sort of like repeat myself too much. It's kind of tricky when there's so many little tasks to be done, even though it is Sunday, but the laundry never ceases. Ideally, I will be able to live out my keto-friendly way of life in front of my children and give them the information they need to be able to understand it while not becoming dogmatic or not allowing it to become such a harsh black and white scenario in their minds while their minds are still developing. There are endless medical studies on anything out there. They may or may not be ideal as far as trying to figure out whether or not something is a certain way, and you have to be discerning about who's funding the research, how is it being executed. You know, there's lots of little factors involved in that. But the point I'm wanting to make is there are tons of pieces of information out there, tons of studies out there that show carbs are great, meat is bad, or the reverse. Carbs are bad, meat is awesome. And it's just one of those things where I want my children to be able to access the information, critically think about it, and then make a choice for themselves. And I want them to see me doing that same thing, researching the information, deciding how it impacts my chemistry specifically, and then living that out. Now that I'm done folding those towels, I am going to sit down with a cup of decaf coffee and read a little bit and pontificate what dinner should be. We are having spaghetti tonight, so I replaced the spaghetti noodles with shredded sauteed cabbage, and then my spaghetti sauce is a meat sauce with ground sausage, ground beef, and I went a little bit light on my tomato products, and I topped the whole thing with some Parmesan cheese. It's really windy out here right now. There is some kind of thunderstorm action happening around here that's coming in quick. So we have dinner all done. Everything is all buttoned up in the kitchen. The only thing that I might have later on is going to be a fatty coffee, which will consist of 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, 1 tablespoon of butter, and decaf coffee. Possibly a couple drops of monk fruit. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. And yeah, that's gonna close it out for the day. And I Hope to see you in my next video.